Hey guys, it's Matt Shu from Upright Health, and today I want to talk with you about abdominal bracing. In the last 10 to 15 years, there was this huge movement to get everybody to engage their abdominals by sucking in their belly button. And in the last, I'd say 5 years, there has been a big push to look at some research by guys like Stuart McGill that look at whether or not that kind of transversus abdominis engagement actually is ideal for helping stabilize your spine. According to the research that's been done by Stuart McGill, it's probably not the best idea to pull your stomach in when you're trying to stabilize your spine. And you can agree with his research or disagree with his research. I don't have a lab to really test exactly all the bits and pieces that he's talking about, but what I found from my own training and from my own experience with athletic endeavors is he's really right. And I want to talk with you about the different ways you can approach this abdominal engagement so that you can replicate it for yourself. So the really common way that we're calling not so safe for our purposes is basically drawing in. It's pulling the belly button in towards the spine, and you can see what happens when I do that is as I pull in, I engage the transversus abdominis, or the TVA for short, and it tends to posteriorly tilt my pelvis. This idea gets used a lot in Pilates when you're trying to hollow out and knit your rib cage down and just try to flatten. Now, what this can do is actually make it easier for you to hurt your back when you're doing something like a deadlift with load. If you draw in, you can see when I draw in, that rounds my lower back, and now I'm waiting to herniate a disc, which is not fun for anybody. So instead, what we want to look at with abdominal bracing, as opposed to the abdominal hollowing, the bracing technique is actually kind of an isometric hold, right? It's an isometric contraction of your abdominals. So the way I show this to clients is you take your hands, you just take one hand for this, and you imagine somebody is trying to dig into your guts. And I will do this with my clients. I'll just stick my hand into their guts because I'm that kind of a person. You stick your fingertips in and somebody's trying to get in. You don't want them to get in, right? The last thing you want as a human creature is for somebody to go digging around in your guts. To stop them, what are you going to do? You're certainly not going to draw in and let them get deeper. That's definitely a no-no. Instead, what you're going to do is tighten up so that they can't move their finger any deeper into you. This is different from just pooching your belly, right? If you're just trying to make yourself look pregnant, then you're actually forcing everything out. But we're not doing that, right? You're just tightening so that there is no movement. So if somebody's pushing in, they can't get any farther because the abdominals are stiff. They're not distended and they're not pulled in and hollowed out. They're just tight and stiff. So how does this carry over for athletics? Well, if you think about this, I mentioned before, when we go deadlift, if we hollow, we are putting our spines in a somewhat dangerous position, especially under load. If you are playing a sport and you're constantly practicing hollowing, you can feel right away just how unstable a position that is if you were to, say, get hit from the side. You really would not want to be hollowed here. You'd want to be braced and ready for impact, so when you get hit, everything moves as a unit, right? This bracing helps keep the rib cage and the pelvis together, so any sort of impact keeps you intact. The hollowing maneuver doesn't really seem to do that. I mean, even doing this and then feeling just a little bit of lateral push on my hips doesn't feel good. Similarly, if you're distended like this just feels wrong. I've never heard anybody think about going in this distended belly out position to try to stabilize. It's really not that good. Unless you're using like a weight belt, you might be able to use that effectively. But if we're going without any sort of weight belts or anything, what we want to practice is abdominal bracing, get tight, get it firm, and then make sure nobody can get into your guts. So I hope that helps you out with whatever your athletic endeavors are, with whatever you're actually trying to accomplish, and it helps you stabilize your pelvis without putting your lower back into a compromised position. So please give that a shot, and remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.